Certainly, for some foreign guys, the thought of marrying a much younger Filipina can be very appealing. And let's face it, in your own country, such a young and beautiful woman may not be interested in you. But there are two things in particular that I believe you need to consider before taking such a big step as marrying a much younger Filipina. And I'll cover those two very important aspects of such a relationship in this video. So be sure to stay with me here. Just quickly, if you're looking to date a Filipina and are not sure where to start, then why not check out my affiliate link in the pinned comment to the Philippines' #1 dating site where it's free to create an account. The first thing I'd like to give some thought to is around the physical aspect of the relationship, which of course is very important in any relationship, and what I refer to here is around the amount of energy you may have compared to the energy a much younger person would have. Sure, right now you may feel that you have plenty of energy to keep up, as some of you guys are constantly telling me, with your younger Filipina bride around doing many activities together that require someone to be reasonably fit. But how will that go as you get older and you may not be able to keep up with her energy levels so much? After all, we're all human and time is undefeatable. No matter how fit or strong you may feel today, and simply ignoring the issue won't make it a possibility. And so let's push on from this a little further. It's not uncommon for a Filipina who marries a man 30 or maybe 40 years her senior to end up spending some of the best parts of her life as a carer for you. And one needs to consider here just how fair is this on a young and vibrant Filipina who has plenty of energy. When you start to feel like you can't go walking, exploring or dancing any longer, will she feel like she's missing out in some way? Now I know this is something we really don't want to think about, but ask yourself if it's actually something that you should give serious consideration to and have a serious discussion with your Filipina so she can also give some serious thought around this herself to decide if it's something she may be willing to do when she's still in her 30s or 40s, rather than one day feeling stuck to be in such a position. The second thing that I believe one needs to think about in advance of such a relationship is around the romantic aspect of the relationship. And again, I know many of you guys right now, there won't be an issue around the intimate activity. But as you get older in years, it is rather common for a man's libido to drop somewhat, and he may lose far more interest in this part of the relationship. All along, whilst the Filipina may still only be in her 30s and in the prime of her life, so to speak, and still looking for much loving. And again, one must ask himself how fair this is on a Filipina in the prime of her life if the man she's with can't fulfill her needs. And let's be fair here, this is a need that's very important for many people. Now, this is not to put the blame on the man, because things like this can naturally happen, and that's life. But if this does happen, what is she left to do? And would the two of you ever have discussed this very important issue? And I would think for most, probably not. So when that time arrives and bit by bit these needs are slowly becoming less and less fulfilled, will she start to resent you and question the whole relationship because all of a sudden she feels that this has been lumped on her, or maybe she doesn't understand what's actually happening, and she may feel as though you're simply not attracted to her anymore, or even worse, that you're now cheating on her? I know that these questions, some will say that they don't need to consider, and some will just plain out not want to consider the possibilities. But again, is that fair on a much younger Filipina if she goes into the marriage not even realising these things are a possibility, and a very real possibility at that, into the future? Is she happy to forgo all her needs and desires and become potentially a carer for you in your old age? I've seen this personally myself where I live, and it's rather a sad situation all round. The fact is, no one knows what the future holds, but certainly as a couple in a big age gap relationship, you can prepare together for the possibility just in case these things do happen. Personally, I would think that would be caring for the Filipina, for preparing her for the possibility of such things happening. And from there, she makes her own decision around if she can handle such things. And as I say, it won't become a shock or a worry to her should these things happen down the track. And of course, she won't be one to resent you for her being blindly put into this position. And we really need to remember that a young Filipina most likely won't really consider any of these issues or possibilities that I've outlined here. Some Filipinas only live for the day and don't think much about tomorrow until it arrives. So as the older, more experienced person in life, you need to take the lead around such conversations and helping her to understand what it all means for her if these things come to pass in the relationship. For those of you who are in a 30+ year age gap, I'd certainly be interested to hear if these things mentioned have become an issue in your relationship, or did you have such discussions at some point with your Filipina so she was more informed? And for the guys who may be thinking about having a relationship with a much younger Filipina, have these things crossed your mind? And if so, how will you handle them when you find your Filipina? I'm certainly very interested to know, so be sure to pop your comments in below. And if you're looking for more valuable information and tips around marrying a Filipina, I have a dedicated playlist which you can access by checking out the playlist on screen now. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.